So my screen is visible there, right? Whoever ever joined the correct. Thank you. So yesterday we did some practical questions on inner or joins or the adding columns and all those things, right? While those were basic and those are the types of questions which will be asked if you are a fresher, right? In fact, before I start this, I want you guys to. So I saw a meme days before, 2 days before. What? Okay, so you guys took SQL course, and so all the things which are there online, right? So everything is basic. So you guys could have taken like the basic, or you guys could have learned SQL from online as well. But everything on online would cover you the basic parts. Even the freshers who are trying to attend the interviews, they also won't be able to solve those questions if you just take or learn anything from the online, right? All the online things which are available for like W3 schools, all those things, they cover just the basic parts. And uh, if you want me to do that, I mean, I am fine with it. I mean, I can actually cover all the basics parts and it's easy for me as well, right? But after you complete your SQL course, uh, then once you go and sit in interviews, then you will find, I mean, at least not the basics questions are being asked, right? If slightly difficult questions are asked, then you guys will face problems in solving those. Then you will see why did I take the SQL course? I completed the SQL course, still I'm not able to solve the questions. So with that, now that we have covered almost all the basic topics, if you have any questions, you can still ask me. I am available after the classes as well, and you can call me after the courses as well. After this course is complete, then also you can ask. But I need to make sure that you guys understand basics first, and then we move on to some of the advanced topics. Because again, you you would be the one who will be giving interviews, right? And the basic purpose of this course is not just to give you the basic understanding of what SQL is and then done, right? If you are not able to clear interviews, then there's no purpose of this course, because this basic thing you can actually learn it free online. Okay, so we'll cover few of the basic topics today as well. We covered group by yesterday. We covered case statement yesterday. We are yet to cover having also, right? Uh, so I have found one website. So this is a programmer's website which we were using to code, right? Until now. This has all the basic things still yet, right? Select, joins, all those things, where conditions and all those things will be there inside select. And this will, so for example, if I take, let's say, I take group by, It will help you in visualizing what table, what query, and what is the result. Okay. So let's take the join first, because that is the one I guess you guys were familiar how the joins were working. Let's start with inner join. I don't want to cover the same join again. So in order for you to guys to visualize the data, so I mean, I guess these types of visual will help you. So if you have this table and I mean these two tables, and if you want to do inner join means all the matching rows will come, right? So 3 and 5. Okay. So these two are the tables, customer and orders. First thing which you will see is which one is the dimension and which one is the fact. Okay. So this one is dimension. This one is fact. Dimension table will have primary key. This is the primary key, customer ID. And orders table will have foreign key. So this has primary key also and foreign key. Fact table can have both of them. Orders, this is the fact table, and this is the foreign key, right? And if you want to join both of them, only the matching rows will come, which is 3 and 5, right? Only 3 and 5 are here. So 3 and 5. Correct. So these are the joints, and I would like you guys to go through all these joints which are available: right join, left join, full outer, and inner join is this one which I'm talking about. So you guys would be able to visualize it if you are not able to visualize it yet. Correct. What is the result which we are getting? Let's take one example of left join also. That will make you guys. Let's say we have this. Again, this is a dimension, this is a fact, this is primary key, this is foreign key. Once you join them, the definition says all the matching rows plus non-matching from the left. Correct? So all the matching rows will come first. So 3 and 5. So we have 3 and 5 here. Correct? And we have 500 and 800 from here. 500 and 800. Now, non-matching rows from the left. What is remaining on the left? 1, 2, and 4. So 1, 2, and 4 also will come. But with that, this thing will remain null. So this actually they should have said null here. It's not blank. It should be null. NULL should be written here. So yes. Likewise, you can visualize the data. I guess when I was teaching you guys the group by part, you guys were finding it hard to how to visualize it. Let's see how to visualize group by. Okay, so the group by states that if you want to look at your data into another level, from another level, right? So your data is now at a customer ID level. For example, we have customer ID, we have first name, last name, age, and country. Correct? This is a dimension table, if you don't know, and this is the primary key. But now that we don't want to know those things, but this is the table which is on customer ID levels, right? Whenever the ID is changing, all the rows are changing, correct? But if you want to look at it at a different level, on a different level, not on an ID level, we want to look at it on a country level. I want all the countries and how many countries are there. So for example, UAE is coming only once, UK 2 and USA 2, right? So this is the result which I want, correct? So I'll write select. This thing I'll come afterwards. From customer is fine. You have to take from customer, only one table is there. Then on what level you want to see your data. It can be a single column also. It can be multiple columns also on which you want to see your data. So for now, in this case, it was only on one level, which is country, right? So whenever you write country here, you have to write country in the select also. So all the columns in the select is same as all the columns in group by, except your aggregation. So Now you want to look at the country level, and you want to aggregate on some of the functions. There are multiple functions, which is maximum, minimum, count, count distinct is also there, sum, average, median, those things, right? Most of the times you will use minimum or maximum or sum or average for count, right? Mostly it is sum which we will be using. But yeah, you guys understand. So there is one sort of aggregation. One is aggregation, and the other things are the columns. So this is the new column which you are creating. Count star as number, right? Number is the new column which is being created. So how many columns you provided it in the group by, plus one columns will be there in your table. You provided one column country. So there are two columns. One is country and one is number, because you selected country and then the number. This is count which you did. Let's take the example of, let's take another example of sum also not here. So we have orders. By the way, this will be a fact table, and this will be our primary, and this will be our foreign key. But now this is on order ID level. We want to see it on customer ID level. And how many customer bought how many amount of product, right? So we select from orders is fine, group by customer ID. And then customer ID, if it is written in the group by, it should be written in the select statement also. Now on what thing we want to do with that amount, we want to sum that amount as total. So whenever 4 is coming two times, 400 and 300, 700 with respect to 4. Correct? So that's about group by. I mean, we talked about yesterday also, but I thought I'll recap it what it looks like. Let's say we go to our last thing, which is having. Or in fact, before having, I'll cover case as well, because case is one of the topics which can be asked again and again in the interviews also. Yes. So yesterday I talked about if you want to make one new column based on some condition, and that condition should be based on some other column. So you have one column, and based on that column, on some condition, you want to make one more new column. Okay. So in this example, they are making another column which is can vote, and it will be either allowed or null. So how the syntax of case works is case, when, then, else, end. Right? It doesn't have else here, but we want to take. Okay, let's take the easier part only then. So what it will do is select. We'll talk about whatever is written inside select. So case also comes in under select only. From customers, so it took this table, which is customer table. Then it took the customer ID and first name. The customer ID and first name also came. Third column, which is it is creating, is on the condition, which is case. And I would like you guys to write it like this also. Case, then a space or a enter. And then when age is greater than 18. So it will check on each and every row. If age is greater than 18, then you want to write allowed. And it doesn't have any else condition. So else condition is optional. You can skip else, but I will tell you why it is always necessary to have else condition. So in this case, they have not put else. So they are saying when age is greater than 18, then allowed, then end. Else they have skipped. And the column name they are providing is can vote. You see in here, So every of the age was above 18. So everywhere allowed came. But I'm saying if the age was, let's say, 17, or if it was less than 18, what thing would have come here? Null, right? The null is not which you want to deal with, right? So it is always good to have your conditions such that everything is taken care of. There should not be any null or there should not be any condition missed. Okay, so for that, we make one more advancement to this statement, which is this. So we don't have, okay, we have it. Okay, so now we can put else. But what if so else, if it is there, we have two conditions. One is in when, and one is whatever comes after else, right? So if we have when and else, we have two conditions, either this or that. But what if I say I want to put multiple conditions, not even three. I want to put 5, 10, 15 conditions, right? How do I put multiple conditions? You can put when and then pair as many as time as you want. Else will only comes one, and will only come once. Case will only come once. But when and then, this is a pair. Whenever when is coming, then should be there. When then pair can come multiple times. What it is saying, again, select. You don't have to write. I mean, it will start from. Then it will select customer ID and first name. Customer ID, first name is selected. Then again, case. When country is equal to USA, so it will check on every row. If country is equal to USA, then it will write United States of America. Correct? And then it won't go to second row and see what is the second row of USA. No, it will see the second condition. When country is UK, I mean, so either one condition should meet, only then it will go to the other step. So in this case, this first condition only met when country is equal to USA. So this country is equal to USA met, and this second step won't run, else won't run, and also won't run. Again, it will run from the second row. When country is equal to USA, again country was USA, then again United States of America, it will write it there. So in both of these, United States of America came, and when country is equal to UK, this line and else line and end line, this did not run. This did not run. Then the third row, it will go when country is equal to USA. No, it was not USA, right? So it will skip the then part. It will go to the next line. When country is equal to UK, yes, the country was UK, so it will write United Kingdom. Anyone was having question on online?
Sir, we can use if, elif, and else also in this type of question.
So this is basically if and else only, right? So the question is, can we use if else? So this is if else, right? Instead of if, you are writing case, right?
Okay.
Or I mean, case you are writing, and instead of if, you are writing when, right? If country is equal to USA, then this. If else only is right. There's no if operator inside the select. Even if it is there, they are only in few of the SQL softwares. So if you want to write if else, you have to write it on case when, then, else. So case is once, when, then can repeat multiple times, else only once, and only once. So that's how you can provide multiple conditions and then create a new column. So it is creating only one column only. Correct? So this was again just a recap of what we learned yesterday. Just that I forgot to tell you about. There can be multiple conditions also. Okay. So where we have having. Okay, so there's this new concept, and then the last keyword which is remaining in our select statements. Okay, so all of the basic keywords or all the keywords basically we have covered. Only the having part was remaining, right? Correct. So having, there's a difference between where and having. So let's start talking about difference between where and having instead of talking you what is having. Let's revise what is where. So once you write where, right, it will go on every row. It will see whether that condition is satisfying in that row or not. Correct. If you are saying if the salary is more than 1,000, it is going on each and every row and selecting that, checking that salary column. And if that row, that first row, if it is more than 1,000 or not. If it is not, it will remove that row. If it is there, then it will add. It will keep adding on that new table. So it is going on each and every row. Correct. Next one. Okay, so this is you can skip for now. Uh, and the where statement is you write it before group by. Correct. The order of writing is also fine. Order of execution is also before group by. Correct. These things you keep in mind in where. Now let's see what is having. So this is one example which we have. Again, we have customer ID table, first name, last name, age, and country. Now, if I don't write having count this, whatever is written here, if I don't write it like this, what would be the result? From customers, group by country, and select count of customer ID and then country. What would be the result? So it would be count of customer ID will be there because count of customer ID is here. Then the country column also will be there. But all the countries will be there. So not just UK and US and where the count was like greater than one. So we just covered this group by topic, right? And once we did group by on this one, there was third row which was UAE. UAE was also here and one count was one. Because you see, once you group by this table on country column, it will give three rows, one for USA, one for UK, and one for UAE. And based on your aggregation, it will do the steps. So what is the aggregation? It is count. So UK is repeating twice. So UK is 2, USA is 2, UAE should be 1 also, right? So if having count was not written, then there was third row which was coming. If having statement was not there, third row which was UAE and 1. Now, if you want to remove certain rows after doing group by, then you can use having. But if you want to remove certain rows before group by, then you have to use where, because where goes on every row. So if you put where here, where country is not equal to UAE, so it will remove UAE first and then do the group by or do the count and all. Correct. But if you want to remove certain rows after group by, correct. Now it is going row by row on this table which is formed. On the aggregated table, on the table which has a different level, right? So if you want to remove certain rows which is at a different level from your original table, then you have to use having. And again, having, just like where, it also have a condition. Where have condition, right? If it is greater than, if it is equal to, then and or all those conditions. Same, all those conditions can be applied in having also. So in this, the condition was count of customer ID should be greater than 1. Okay. So what would happen if having was not there, UAE and 1 was coming. And once you put having, count was greater than equal to 1, count was greater than 1, so it will check on these row now, these 3 rows. Wherever count is greater than 1, only keep those rows. So 2 are kept and 1 are removed. Got it? Let's see the differences now. So in where it checks on every row, before group by only it checks on every row, whether that condition is true or false, and it removes or add the rows. In having checks the condition on a group of rows. So once you group all the rows and then checks whether that row is satisfying the condition or not. Correct? Having is used with the aggregate function. So here, every time you will see after having, there is some sort of aggregation function which is involved. Again, count, max, minimum, sum, average, all those things would be there in here, because again, you are not just checking only one row. You want to check the aggregated row, right? So there will always be some sort of aggregation function with having. Where clause cannot be used with aggregate function. So in where clause, it was on every row. So there's no need to aggregate that one row again, right? You do aggregation if there are multiple rows and bring that to one row. If it is only one row, then you cannot do aggregation. So it is anyways going row by row, so you cannot do any aggregation here. Having is used in aggregate function, which is fine. The having clause is executed after the group by. If it is written after the group by, it is executed after the group by. Okay. So these are the differences between having and where. Let's see if we have more examples. Yeah, let's take an example if we use where or if we use having. So let's say we have orders table. We select customer ID and amount from that, and only the amount which is less than 500. What it will do is, this is the order ID. Where is the order ID? Okay, so that table is not there. Okay. This is the order ID table. And let's say we want to write this where it will take the from orders, which is fine. Then amount, it will go row by row. Amount it will check if it is less than 500. This first one is correct. Second one, it's correct. Third one is not correct. Fourth one, fifth one, not correct. So only one row will be removed. One row is removed and we got 4 rows. Same thing if we try to do it with having. Now it says first you do the group by and then do the having, where sum of amount is less than 500. Correct? So what it will do is from orders. So this table, group by customer ID, right? Group by customer ID, which is customer ID is these. 4 and 4 will sum up. 400 plus 300 will become, right? Yeah. So you have, let's say I don't write having now, and then run. So whenever your group by query will run, these are the rows which will come, because you have 2 4s in it. Now it will become only 1 4, and it will sum up the values 700. Correct? If I add this row again, having some amount is less than 500. So it will go on these rows now. Wherever some amount is less than 500, it will only take that. So it will only take the above two rows. Okay, so it's a very rare scenario that you will be using having, but it's a very important interview question because no one generally uses having because there are multiple ways. You can write two queries and then you won't be able, there's no need to write having also. You write group by, and if I don't want to write having, I can write another query which will take this table. I mean, I can create tables also, right? I didn't tell you now how to create tables, but I can take this table now and then use where in that. And then I'll say where less than 500. So there is technically no need to use having. I mean, if you are fine with creating two SQL queries instead of one, right? And that's why people ignore learning having because that is not needed. And interview questions are like very much like popular in this case. So where versus having. The interview question will be like this only. What is the difference between where and having? So all these three things are the difference. Let's go. I mean, if you want to go, where goes row by row, having goes after aggregating, go row by row on the aggregated row. Where cannot be used in the aggregated functions, having always need an aggregated function. Having is run after group by, where runs before group by. Any question online?
Where clause is used with operators type, na? Specific operators, where clause.
Yes. So where is used with operators, having can also be used with operators. So whatever can be done with where can be done with having also, right? And greater than, less than, or not, all those things can be used in having as well. But where cannot have the aggregated thing. Having will always have the aggregated function. Okay. So let's start few questions or let's see. So with this, let me open my Excel file and then I'll write what does having. So having also have what? Conditions. Condition or conditions also it can have. Conditions on aggregated rows. Okay, so with this all of our keywords are completed. And whichever query you will write, it will consist of these things. Right? There are no additional keywords which you will think like, I don't know what that is, right? All those main keywords, select, from, join, where, group by, having, order by, limit. Select, all your interview questions will be on these. And it can become complicated, all those things, but even the complicated SQL query will always have these keywords only. Right? Now that we have this, let's start with few questions. So I noticed on the hacker rank, whatever is easy mark here, right? You guys would be able to complete all of them without any issues. I mean, obviously, you guys can have issues. There is no wrong in that. But I'm just saying, you would be able to find it very easy now because all of the things which you have covered it here. It's just that little bit of practice only is needed. So you have practice, you will be able to solve all of them. I want to solve that triangle thing. once. Let's see if we can do that. Okay, so this is in easy, but it is not that easy because you have to understand how the triangles also work. So if you have a triangle, there can be 4 scenarios. Whether that triangle is an equilateral triangle. The equilateral triangle means all the sides are same, right? We have sides and their lengths given here, ABC. A is 20 centimeter, let's say B is 20 centimeter, C is 23 centimeter. ABC are sides. Okay. So equilateral triangle will mean all the sides are same, 20, 20, 20, right? Isosceles triangle means only 2 sides of the triangle are same. The third side is different. Scalene triangle will mean all the 3 sides are different. Okay. And then there's a condition of a not a triangle. They have not given how to find not if it is not a triangle. But basically, if the sum of 2 sides, right? If the sum of 2 sides, let's say A plus B, is less than or equal to the sum of other sides. So, which means to say, if one side is that big that it is bigger than the sum of the other 2 sides, then it is not a triangle. You cannot form a triangle like that, right? So if A plus B should always be greater than C, right? So that is one condition for not having a triangle. These are 4 conditions which we have to put in inside. So if you want to create one column here, let's say, you want to create a column here, type of a triangle, right? And this type of triangle is based on conditions on the other 3 columns. In that case, we have to use case statements, correct? So this is one of the hardest question which you will receive ever in case. It is saying easy, but this is one of the hard questions, which at least for the freshers, it will be considered hard in the interviews. So let's say we start with this, right? So we do select and I write from, and then the table name is triangles. Right. So there's no need to where, there's no need to join, there are no 2 tables, there's no removing of rows which is happening, so we don't have to do where. Then there is no group by, there's no having, there's no order by, or there's no limit. There's only case statement which we have to put here. And the answer would be something like this. So output is only one column. We don't need these 3 columns as well. Right. So we can directly start writing our case statement here. Case. And I'll write in here. So when then, it's for the first scenario. So there are total of 4 scenarios, right? So I know I have to write 4 scenarios. And then, and then the last scenario which we can cover it in else, right? Then else and. Correct. So structure we are clear that we have to write this kind of scenario. Now the first scenario which we will have to check is, so if we check if it is equilateral, all those things, I mean it is fine, but we first have to check whether that is a triangle only or not. Because I mean, so let's see why we would need to check not a triangle first. I'll just write in first scenario, it is, so we can comment also. So there is this. There is this, there is this, and then again this. Inside we can comment. So this condition is for not a triangle. So anything which we write under slash stars, these are comments. This will be skipped whenever we run the SQL query. We did not cover the comment part because that is very basic, right? Next thing which we will check whether that is the equilateral. Then we'll check whether that is an iso. This. Else, it will be a scaling. So these are the scenario-based questions which will come here and there in interviews. But for freshers, I mean, it's very hard that these questions will be asked, like these complicated questions. Only one conditions can be asked, like how do you write the case statement? That is the question which will be asked for a fresher. And you will have to tell like case, when, then, else, and. So if you are able to write the syntax, that is fine for freshers. Case, when, then, else, and, right? Let's check if it is not a triangle. So if I say not a triangle, that means the sum of two sides is less than the other side, right? So it should always be like this. So how would we write? Case when sum of two sides, which is A plus B, is less than or equal to C. But this is only one condition, correct? We can write, we have to be sure that all the other sides are also fine. So A plus B is less than equal to C, which is correct. But B plus C should be less than equal to A. C plus A should be less than equal to B. Correct? Three conditions which we have to write. And if you want to write multiple conditions, we can use and or, right? In this case, we have to be sure that all of the conditions are correct. So, and we have to write here. And B plus C is less than or equal to A. And B plus A B. Okay. Then we have to say that it is not a triangle. Just exact same words from here. Not a triangle under quotes. Correct. Next thing is easier. So it's fine that you don't understand the first part because that is a mathematical thing. But I want you guys to understand whatever I'm writing here, that you are able to understand. And is what, right? If I do plus of these things and this is giving a true or false or not. The sum of two sides should. No, right? Yeah, correct. Sum of two sides should be greater than equal to. Okay, let's see if this is correct. So you guys told me if it is greater than or equal to, right? So So let's say we have a triangle, AB and C sides are there, and the sum of those two sum is greater than the third side. That is a triangle or not? That is a triangle. Triangle, right? But we want to check if it is not a triangle, right? Correct. It's anyways, this is a mathematical term. It's fine that you don't understand if you want to put greater than or less than. I just want you to see how case when then are working. So all the other things will be easy. Equilateral triangle will mean all the sides are equal. A is equal to B and B is equal to C and C is equal to A. Let's write that. That is easy, right? Case when A is equal to B and B is equal to C and C is equal to A. Can we improve this a bit? So if A is equal to B and B is equal to C, do we need to write C is equal to A? Because A is equal to B and B is equal to C, that will mean C is equal to A also, right? Automatically, that will mean C is equal to A. I mean, it's fine that we wrote it here. This is also correct. But I'm saying this condition would never run because if this is correct, A is equal to B is correct, and B is equal to C is correct, that would automatically mean that A is equal to C. Let's take an example. If A is 20 and B is also 20, and let's say C is also 20. So, right, so 20 is equal to 20, 20 is equal to 20. A and C are already 20 is equal to 20 only, right? If these two are correct, the third condition will always be correct. So we can actually skip it, but if you want to let it like that, that is the solution. Now isosceles. Isosceles would mean any of the two sides are same. So we have to check whether A is equal to B or A is equal to C or B is equal to C. All the conditions which we have to check. So how many conditions will be found? Let's see. We'll see how many conditions we are able to find. So, okay, so then it is now for isosceles, if A is equal to B or A is equal to C or C is equal to B. Are there any more conditions which can be found? You can see we checked A is equal to B and A is equal to C. We did not check C is equal to A, but C is equal to or A is equal to C are same only, right? So only these two conditions can be found, these three conditions. And then we'll say isosceles. Else, there's no condition, we can just say scaling. So this is the extreme question which you might get, right? So don't think like you are not able to get it because it's fine. I mean, it's fine that you don't get it in the interview also. So this is hard, right? First of all, you should have the knowledge about mathematics, all those triangles and all those things. But what if happens if these types of questions are asked in the interview? If you don't have understanding how the triangle works, is it fine to ask for the interviewer for any help? Yes, it is absolutely fine, right? You can ask them what are the conditions for not having a triangle, and they won't tell you exact if A plus B is less than. They can tell you in the English term. The sum of both the sides should always be greater than the sum of the other side. Then only it is a triangle. And if this is false, then this is not a triangle. So this is how you should run. Now we can run it. Let's see. After writing this, okay, what is the issue? Spelling. Spelling is correct only, right? If we triangles, the isosceles. Isosceles, one more condition you're saying. So you are saying sum of two sides should be greater than or equal to the other side. But we checked the first condition here only, right? I mean, so if this is not correct, that means we had the sides correctly, right? That is fine. I just do this fine as less not a triangle, okay, fine. Else triangle. Okay, let's cheat now. So let's see if I had solved it. I solved it 5 months ago. Okay, so I guess this was the or condition. Right? I think I wrote and. Oh, fine. I think the main issue was we wrote the first condition wrong. We wrote and instead of or, right? Can you guys confirm? Did we write and or? We wrote and, right? Yeah. Our points first. So even yeah, that's what. There can be misconceptions in maths, and which is fine. You can ask the interviewer also, and they can guide you a bit so that you can understand if you want to write and or all those things. But you should be fine with all the syntaxes which are here. When, then, where we have to write, we have to end with an end. Else should only be coming once. Case will only be coming once. Right? So this was a hard question. You solve any question now from the easy section. Just take any question. And I bet that will seem easy now. So these are medium, which we'll cover after like 1 or 2 weeks. But let's say you go anywhere, abbreviations, average population, all those things, those will be pretty much straightforward for you guys. So I want you guys to attempt all these easy part here. You can skip the medium part, which is fine. All these aggregation, all these easy part would be now easy for you. And all of these questions can be asked in the interview. All of these easy questions can be asked in interview. And now you are expected to solve all these questions. If you are not able to solve it, I'm anyways here after the course. But after this, our next steps involve so we have covered introduction, select statements, joins. Next part will involve downloading the software on your system, which either I'll decide whether we want to go with MS SQL or we'll go with MySQL. Okay. It's better that we go with MS SQL because most of the companies are using MS SQL because it is Microsoft, it is more trusted. So we'll use, but whatever we have learned until now, all the functions, left, right, substring, all those things are there in MS SQL. Tomorrow we will see how we can download MS SQL on your system, and then how can we start with all these things, create database, create table, all those things. And these things are half as difficult as whatever things were there at the top. There's no concept basically here. So if you want to drop a table, which is deleting a table, right? What the max thing which can happen, it will delete the table. That's it, right? Hardly you will write one line and you are done. Creating a table also, you have to create the table row by row. That is also a one line statement and that is done. Okay. So there are advanced topics which will come under select, but I don't want to cover that as of now. First, we will cover the database and table, insert, update, delete, all these things, because these are very basic things and which won't take any one of you like much time for you to understand. And it will cover our SQL part fully. Then there are advanced topics which are known as subqueries and CTs, common table expressions, then window functions. So right now we talked about the functions which are there inbuilt in the SQL, right? There are window functions also. So the three concepts, window function, subqueries, and CT, they are quite advanced concepts, which we will talk after we completed database, table, and insert, update, and delete. And these are very easy. So whatever you have learned, these are half as difficult as these. Oh, sorry, whatever you covered it before, those were hard, and these will be supposed to be very easy. Okay, from now onward, we won't be using the online editors. I'll be sharing you data sets. On that data sets, we'll be working. Okay. All the queries will be writing on the our software. Any questions? If you find any of the topics which I have missed, we'll cover that as well. But I think let's say select was done from intro. Let's go in intro is info file. Select was done, and or not. Select distinct was done. Select as is for creating the table name. Limit, top, fetch. All these are different things, but we'll do the same thing. I mean, so these are different words in different SQL editors, right? So for Snowflake, we'll use limit. MS SQL will use top. All those things. I mean, so they are doing the same thing, but we learned about limit, right? That is enough. In operator, between operator, null, not null, minimum, maximum count, sum, average. All these things we have already learned. Then order by, group by, like. Wildcards are nothing but like, and then you put percentage mark, right? Whatever coming after or before that, those are wildcards. We'll talk about wildcards. I'll take one more session on wildcards because instead of percentage, you can have underscore also. There are other wildcards also available. This is percentage, which you already know, which you use with the like. Underscore is there. Then these regex, which we say, these are also there. We'll take one session on wildcard if it is necessary. Then there are some concept of union and subquery, which I said I'll cover afterwards, union and all. Case, having, I covered. I'll come on the topics which we have missed, right? Then joints. Joints are, I think you guys should know what join means now. Inner join, left join, right join, full auto join. We'll start it from here tomorrow. Okay. Any questions? So you learned about having today. That is the main thing which I want you guys to know. Having and case statements. Okay, I'll stop the recording.